Good evening, welcome to Scott Valley Hairdressing. This is where it's all happening here tonight. So, we came to your screens on Tuesday night. We've decided again to do yet another haircut this week, which makes us 2 haircuts. So we're in a position where, fortunately, we've got great models. As always, we've got a very good model tonight for you to showcase and share with you. And we're in a position where we can really show, again, a massive restyle. We did a massive restyle on Tuesday night. We're going to replicate a second restyle tonight, which I think will be really good for people to watch. Hopefully you'll learn something from it tonight. Hopefully you'll learn something and you'll be able to be in a position where you can sort of see a finish as well. And we can be in a position to share with you live from the salon. Fingers crossed if the technology doesn't break down. If it does, we'll go to a pre-recorded session, then we'll go into that for you afterwards. But in the meantime, let's go over and meet the model. Good evening. How's everybody doing there? Hopefully you're all okay at home. No doubt you're with your children. If you're going to put your children to bed, thank you very much for being with us tonight. Also, if you are missing watching Coronation Street, thank you also. It's very much appreciated. To our international friends that are watching this evening, good evening. It's always nice to see the international people that are on. Also, our local people as well, our clients, good evening also. It's great to see you on there. As always, thank you so much for the support that we have from everybody that is local and makes this event what it is. It's always a very special event, very special to me and very special to the client, and also very special to the salon. I'd also like to say a big good evening to the following tonight. Kate from Locks in Milden Hall. I know you watch what's going on, you want to send me a text, so thank you Kate, good evening, hope you're well. Nikita from Norwich, it's great to see you on there. Also a big good evening to Big Mate, previous model, and all of the family that are with you tonight. There's somebody that also wants to say hello. So give us a quick spin on to Lynn. Here's Lynn.
Hi.
As you can see, we have an audience tonight, so no pressure. But yeah, nice to see a Big Mate tonight. Also, I'd like to say a big good evening to my fellow Jam friends from Primal Conditioning. I'd like to say a big good evening to Jeremy Saxon, top personal trainer in the area, who's making me look even leaner than what I am. Thanks for that, I really appreciate it. Also, I'd like to say a big good evening tonight to Samuel, who's in the team. Spotted the other day for running down the street on CCTV camera, that was excellent. Maz, you always get a message, Maz. It's great to see you, Maz, last night. I really enjoyed the session. Louise, big shout out there to Louise. Also Darren, Darren and Louise from the new Plough Inn. Great to see you also. Jessica, you know you loved. I told you last night that you loved it and I don't want you to feel left out, so good evening, Jess. Also Jim, part of the Jim Aaron movement. So I'd just like to say a big good evening to Jim. Jim's a great captain and a great pusher, so it's great to see Jim there. Also Tracy, nice to see you Tracy as well. Thank you so much, hope you're feeling better. Carly McMay, also hopefully I got your name right tonight, because sometimes I get your name wrong, but anyway. Great to see you there. Also, Lucy, I hope Lucy's feeling better. Ant said to me last night, so I hope you feel better also. Ross is a big inspiration. Big good evening to Ross also. Disco Stu, also, I hope you're dancing away there, but good to see you, Disco Stu also. Anne Marie, I don't want to sort of leave Marie out, because I did say last night, I'm really sorry that I've missed you out before, so Marie. And then last but not least, the star of the show from the team, Wes. Sadly stabbed the other night in the village, but is now real going for it and he'll be with us again on Sunday. He is my true hero, and it's really nice that Wes is making a big recovery. So Wes, we've got our own 50 Cent in the village, which we've now decided you're 25 Cent, a real gangster, but it's good to see that you're making a recovery and we look forward to seeing you Sunday. So let's meet the model tonight. We are very lucky to have a lady that's well known to you. If you walk down the streets of Castle Street, you'll recognise my model tonight from Vision Express, the manager tonight, Julie Hollyland. Give it up. Woo!
Hi.
Say hello, give us a wave.
Hello.
That's it, excellent stuff. So, Julie's hair tonight. It's going to be very interesting because we're going to do a restyle on Julie. Some of you have seen this haircut before, but the nice thing is it's great to revisit something that's different, but also take the hair from long to short, which is something we've not really showed until this week. So it's nice to do a second version of a restyle. So now we're in a position where we can show a graduated bob, but from a real long haircut. Also, we've got somebody that is in the community that people see, so no pressure. Also, I'd like to say a big good evening to our Australian friends tonight from Muck. You'll see it behind me over here. Exclusively sponsored tonight by Muck. Thank you so much for your belief in me and also for allowing me to be your UK Artistic Director. It's a real pleasure to be that. Big good evening to the lovely Justina. I know you'll be watching tonight, Justine. And also BA, Big Alan. Hopefully you'll be watching tonight as my line manager. So to make sure I behave myself and do everything right and push the products. But anyway, getting back to what we're doing tonight, we will be showcasing how the products work on the hair. We'll also be showcasing how the style stick works from Muck also tonight. And we'll also be showcasing, most importantly, how a cut can work for you. So let's get into the cut. This is the bit I really enjoy doing. I've been looking forward to this all day. Let's go straight into what we're going to do now with the cut. So to begin with, every journey with a haircut starts with taking the baseline off. So let's just get straight into it. May I have my, thank you very much, 9-inch scissors to start tonight. So we're just going to take the back to begin with, literally just get into it and just make a start. We'll just go, take it off, there it goes, bang. Let's just get another pair of scissors just very quickly. So before we were in a position where we wanted to, Rob Lawrence and Ben Gardner, good evening, nice to see you on there tonight, and also Anne Foster. I need to come and see you about, yes, you know what about. So, working from the bones in the skull, as we said the other day, let's just start with it again where we mean to start from. So we're on the recession, the parietal ridge, the apex, upper occipital bone, lower occipital bone, the mastoid process, and the nape. That's what we'll be working from tonight. We'll be seeing this lovely tattoo that's on here, which is very sentimental to Julie tonight, or my Julie, I should say. So we're working now from the apex to the mastoid process, which now just really segregates the haircut off. We're also looking to make Julie's hair look a little bit thicker, because obviously it's quite fine in texture. So the layering that we'll be working with tonight will be a rounded layer, which will work to even more of an angular rounded layer, which then again will give us a really strong shape. We're also going to bring this layer back, which creates a point at the front. We'll be going through the fringe also, which will be a light trim, or a dusting as the Americans call it. Then we'll be putting a convex shape into the front, okay, which again just adds a little bit more shape. So now we're going to go through to the back. We're taking it from the apex through to the lower occipital bone, which again, these bones that we use are reference points, which are just really like a road map all over the head, which again now we work from the lower occipital bone, just above actually. Let's just go a little bit lower. So that's the lower occipital bone through to the mastoid process. Again, it's important just to keep everything nice and clean, because again, clean lines, clean cut, which is what we really want. Sorry, I just try on your foot. Nearly. And again, it's just a question of just getting the balance right before you start. I cannot stress enough just how clean lines have to be when you're doing a haircut, because again, I feel that from my mentors, if any of them are watching tonight, it's really important to just sort of keep everything nice and clean. So now I've got my section I'm ready to go with. We're going to be working on, as we all know, graduated bobs come into the middle and then go out. The way this is going to work, let's just bring my little friend over to the other side here now. We're going to be using the body of a spider. So these are the sections. You see how that just marinates up nice with the little finger? This section here goes down, which is where I'm going to start in a minute, and this is the next two sections. So this works with time. So we're going to go 6, 7, 8 and 9 o'clock. So I have to move my body around to this position, which means that I'm going to be doing a travelling guide. So if I stay in the same position where I am and just bring this back, it makes no difference at all. So the idea is I have to physically move with these sections. So you'll see that as I'm cutting through. So as long as you remember what the clock's doing and where you're positioning your hand, and just bring in the section out to where your body is corresponding. Now you can see I'm going to take the first section, which is the 6 o'clock. Just get a stool and then I can get my little friend to come over the other side. This side. That's it. There you go. So I could say my little friend because when my dad used to tell me off, he used to call me my little friend, so it's quite funny. So here we go then. Let's just make sure the legs are not crossed before we start, because we need everything all level. So if we've got our legs crossed, that's brilliant, because of course, as we all know, if you've got your legs crossed, it doesn't really sort of make the shape right. and you'll be lopsided. So we need everything to be level, the head needs to be in the right position, and then we can go. So working now from the section, getting the hand right, the thumb's leading with the thumb facing this way. We're cutting to the second knuckle, so we're just going to go straight in now and take it off. Using scissors, so again we can get a really strong result, and you can see where we're going with it. Now I changed my position and go to 7 o'clock, which I'll just turn Julie around slightly so I can now move my body position to 7 o'clock. Now we're pulling out here, and what we're doing is pulling the top out so we've got no drag, and putting the hand in slightly. Taking it to the second knuckle. Again, the importance of this is that by going to the second knuckle, you're able to then control the hair better. Now you can start to see a bit of movement in the hair. I'll just move around again because we need to come around to 8 o'clock. So you've got to think of the clock, what it's doing, and then pulling the hair to your body where you are. Because if you're pulling it back, which is how you do a normal graduated bob, you'd be keeping the corners on. We're actually breaking the rules of hairdressing now, and we're actually going in and we're taking the corner off. So as we just go in here now, just make sure we don't miss anything. You should be able to check these sections off and just make sure that everything just corresponds quite nicely. So now we go back on another section for 8 o'clock because there's quite a bit of hair to cut in. Taking it to a second knuckle, and again the important part of this is making sure the knuckles are going into the neck, because if you don't do that you don't really sort of see what's going on. Now we'll move around to 9 o'clock, and then of course we just angle this in so the knuckles are coming right in at a strong angle now, taking it right in. So this is actually really taking the corner off now. And the beautiful thing about this is that when it's cut, you can actually see that when the sides come in later, you will have no gaps just there. Everything will just join through nicely, because as we saw with Nikki Gower's hair and Helen Bailey's hair, you saw that there was no gap and everything just followed through nicely. So obviously there's quite a lot of kink in here, you start to see a bit of movement in there, but we'll clean all that up later. So the idea is it now just pivots round. We're now going to come through to the other side, so my little friend will come over to the other side for me. Of course, being Dad, just want to thank for doing this again because he does it all the time, which is nice. Side, isn't it? Oh, don't worry about it. We're going well there.
Go on, you're on again.
Okay, quick. So the importance of it is that when we're coming through to this side, I thought I'd lost you for a second, that the fingers are coming in and the knuckles are going out, and then all you're doing then is bringing it round. So we're now moving the body round, so I'm moving my position round with the head, because we're going now for 4 o'clock. Again, it's easy to forget where you're going with your thumb and your fingers, so you've got to really stay on it, as if you're staying on your game. Move round to 3 o'clock. And what you find then is, as you're angling it round again, the fingers have got to be going into the head and the knuckles coming out, and as you come round towards this part, it's really giving us the shape. So you can really sort of see that shape wants to bend round on its own. Again, just clean it up as best you can so everything looks nice and tidy, and then just clean a little bit of it off. So now what we can see is, when we look at the shape, we can start to see that we've got, literally on here we have a nice shape coming through with the body coming through there as well. I pre-put into this earlier on before we started tonight, I pre-put some Fat Muck volumizing blowout mousse that's in here, so that's allowing me to also see the movement that's in the hair. So of course if we break that down and put it into a glass, it will turn into conditioner, and also it allows me to be able to see what the hair's doing with its natural movement, which again is really important whilst cutting the hair. So I'm now going just above the occipital bone, and we're going up to the upper occipital bone now. So obviously we'll need as much as we can get into this so we can see the shape. Now you'll really start to see it in a second, so you can see the sections are nice and clean. Hopefully everybody's okay here.
Yeah, fine.
Imagine. Lynn, you alright? Okay, we need to come over this side. That's it. Lovely stuff. So let's just pop your head forward. So again, we replicate what we were doing. It's just keeping your sections nice and clean and thinking of the clock. So think about the body of the spider. Again, just angling it out. So the importance of this area is now to look at the drag, so there's no drag. So a lot of people tend to put drag in there, which is not what works. and then just keep it clean. Second knuckle, then we move round. I'll move around to 7 o'clock now, and I'm bringing this out, so it's really important again watching that drag. Also tonight, a big good evening to Sue Gilberthorpe, because I know you'll be watching this. Thank you very much for your very kind compliments the other day. Also Rocco from Italy, you'll be watching no doubt tonight. Thank you for your compliments as well, what you've given. As with all of you that watch it, I can't see if anybody's writing hello, but if you are writing something on there tonight, hello. I'll have a little look shortly and see what's been going on and see who's been saying hi, but you know that I love you all and I would want to say hello, but at the moment my eye is on the money and I'm on the hair, so I'll have a little look later. So now we come round to 8 o'clock, keeping the sections nice and clean. Again, the importance is the second knuckle. For those of you that are not aware of it, it means that you will not cut your fingers, because if you go to your third knuckle you lose tension, which on that third part there, it's always good to discipline yourself with that. Right, moving around to 9 o'clock, just spin you around there to me. This now just takes the corner clean off, which again is what keeps the shape really, really strong. Apologies for starting a little bit later tonight. I know we're all excited. I said about 20 past 7. We obviously had to finish the clients off today and then come into what we're doing. So now we can see what's going on here. We can really see that shape just coming in. It's actually following through, and we've got a little bit of body in there. We can see. Let's just see who's on tonight then. Michelle, good evening. Morgan Perkins Senior. Yes, the man himself. Frank Sinatra. Good evening. John Harrison. Big good evening to you. And the lovely Justina. Nice to see you on there tonight. So thank you for joining us. It's always good. So you can really see now that corner's on there. And again, if I put that comb in, you can see generally you would see a gap in there. There's no gap. Everything just covers in nicely, and that just looks really, really slick, which is what we're after. Or as Andy said the other week, big mate, he said smooth. Let's come over to the other side. That's it. It's like carousel. We'll be singing Half for Sixpence in a minute. Tommy Steele. So as we now come through, just making sure everything's really, really clean on here. So I'm now coming through just to replicate what we've done. Then we'll damp down again with some more muck product in a second, because again the muck product is really important on this part. We're using part of the volumising range tonight, the fat muck range, which again is going to give me a little bit of body in the hair. It contains panthenol amongst other things, which then again obviously gives us that little bit of body that I'm after later, along with the cut that I'm going to give Julie. Also big good evening to Julie's family, because I know Julie's family is watching tonight, so we can't see you, but we know that you can see us, so nice of you to be with us, joining us. So now we're just coming through to the last part of this section, which then comes through to about 3 o'clock, which keeps this really, really slick, this cut. Again, you can see I'm keeping everything really, really precise. Look at my arm a second, if you just go on my arm with a camera. See my mechanics are really important. Put you around to the other side with a camera, and then that might just come back on again. Obviously it's when you go around there. That's it. Is it back on? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I thought he'd left you there. Yeah. Sorry, I do apologise. Every time he seems to go over the other side of the salon, it seems to lose the signal. I don't know what's going on there, but anyway, let's just keep our fingers crossed we're staying right. So now at this point we can really see where we're going. We've got the shape coming through slowly on here. Obviously it'll need a bit more work on it later. Let's go through to the apex. If we do lose the signal tonight, what we'll do is we'll reset the camera as we have, and then we'll go back on again. So stay with us, don't disappear, and then what we'll do is we'll try and get it on as quick as we can. And then the plan is that we will, if we can't film, we'll pre-record it. So now to damp down the hair, Fat Muck Volumizer we're going to use here. This is a great spray. It will just give me a lot of volume while I'm cutting, and also volume when I blow dry, most importantly. So let's just put some of that in there for our Australian friends that are watching, as well as Alan Maxwell tonight, and also the lovely Justina, who I'm yet to meet, which I'm sure I'll get a chance to meet Justina at some point. So now moving on with the haircut, we're just going to go through the back section. This again, the discipline in this part now, this is what I cannot emphasise enough. I was teaching Monday, private client, just going on about discipline. Again, it's discipline with anything. Really, it's a question of painting or anything, you're just keeping that clean. So the section with no drag, just going straight into it, it's like dot to dot. You can just get this looking nice. This needs to look really pristine for when you're on Castle Street, this does, doesn't it? So when you're up there, people will be coming in hopefully and saying, oh yeah, it looks really nice. I'm only just about to say that now. No one can get a higher pitch, but we're doing 4 days of teaching, 4 days of working in a salon and teaching, it just takes its toll. So now you can see what we're doing, we're just pulling it all out. Again, anybody who's watching this that wants to try this technique, you've seen it with the razor on Karen Booth, that was on haircut number 1. She's in the south of France, probably tuning in tonight with Ian. Good evening. Bonjour, ça va bien. Also, it's just a question of being confident to take that corner off. You have to think of the shape, what you're creating, and of course by taking the corner off it makes it really interesting, which of course is what we like, to offer something different to guests, clients that is interesting and something that is very different as well. So let's just come through here now. You can really see this side through here. So I'm just really pulling this out towards me, taking it off, and then we can just see that's coming off nicely. Which of course by angling it slightly, I'm at a 45-degree angle. That also gives us a little bit more of the shape. Instantly when it drops, it gives us that stronger shape. Now anybody that wants to be really clever at this point and try and cut in front of a guest, you can just switch your scissors over. Just try and get the camera on my scissors if you can, Dad, in a minute. This is a bit of something a little bit different for you, because I do like to throw something like a curveball. I'm just going to cut backwards and just go in there and just cut away backwards. Same principle, but it's just something a little bit different. So I just thought to try and do something that's different for you. So keep your 45-degree angle up there and just slice away. It's called reverse cutting. That is classic Tony and Guy technique back in the early 90s. So now going back to the way that we all know how to cut, I'll behave myself. Don't, because you'll make me laugh. Obviously angling it out and just taking the corner off, and there we go, there's the first side. So we can now see, shaking the hair with the products in, obviously with this blowout mousse, you can really sort of see that shape coming through, and we can sort of work out how this is all going to come through later. Which is nice. Big mates on there. Barry Stephen, good evening. Nice to see you on with us. Sarah Dow, Olivia Wykes. Also Barry, congratulations on 20 years. I noticed the day you're on there, so that's nice to celebrate. Ironically enough, we've both been in business for the same time, which is nice. Let's just come round to the side, Dad, if we can. Big follower of you, Barry, so well done. That's amazing to see what you're doing with your group there. Let's just come through to this side. So again now just pulling the hair out, so it's just really important to keep the sections clean and just keep it tidy, but again not being in a position to take the corner off too much to begin with, because as you come through towards the bottom part you'll take the corner off even more. So now turn the head, because you have to remember we're on the clock, which is really important. So again, following the guide, seeing where we are, looking at the shape of the knuckles, and again it's the mechanics of what we're doing with the hair. Okay, because again I always think to myself, you've got to think about your hand positioning, you've got to think about your body positioning, you also got to think about, this is something that Barry Stevens talks about a lot, well-being, your well-being. You know, you've got to think about how you're sitting in a chair. Put the camera on me quick, Dan, you can see how I'm sitting. Hi everybody, you can see I'm not really pushing myself too hard. There you go, shoes by Philip James tonight if he's watching in Hinkley. But again, you can see that I'm not really putting any degree of stress on my body at all. I'm really relaxed, I'm really comfortable, as any creator should be. If you're painting a canvas, every haircut is a canvas, and we're creating as hairdressers, we all create canvases every day, which I salute every hairdresser for that. Somebody did say to me once that this is probably one of the most stressful jobs you can get, which I did think, well, it is a stressful job, but it's only stressful if you make it. It's also a very pleasurable job. This is great because it's like doing a dance when you cut hair, and I just think it just goes really well. You can see the shape now, just really bending round. We've obviously got the natural kink in there, but you can see where we're going with it. The shape's really bending in, it's giving us a nice shape through there with the softness. So let's just come through on the last bit, and then we'll be going through onto the sides. So again, just being careful not to lose what you're doing. keeping your maximum tension on. We're coming now into nearly 3 o'clock. So again, it's just keeping that really tight, really strong shape. So again, you just have to think about where you're positioning as well, because remember, this is now properly taking the corner off. So just bring that through. Again, it's this angle of 45 degrees, what I'm going for off the head at this angle, just to keep it cleaner. And then as it drops, you can really sort of see that just coming in and really giving it a nice shape instantly. So you can see we're going to go with that line, which will be really nice on there, which is really good. Miguel from Chicago, good evening. Nikki Gower, good evening also. Nick, nice to see you on there, probably from Germany tonight. Looking forward to doing your hair on Saturday. It'd be very nice to have the pleasure of meeting you. I know you're always watching. Give my love to your wife Sharon if you're at home. If you speak to her later, if you're in Germany, then say hello and give her my love. Right, let's go through to the sides then. Let's just come back up on the top. So we're going to go through now from the apex, passing over the parietal ridge, which is a favourite with Ross, through to the recession, which is on the front. Again, we're using all these guidelines that we were talking about earlier on, which is the roadmap that I was discussing with you. So that works really, really well now, because you can see it's really coming into the game really well, which is what it's all about. How you doing down there?
Hi, thank you.
Do you need to have a little glass of water?
No, I'm okay. No, thank you.
Okay, excellent stuff. Let's just get you clamped down again, using, again, some Fat Muck Volumizer spray. For our friends in Australia that'll be watching this, again with fine hair, as with any hair, it dries pretty quick, so you just got to keep it nice and damp down. So let's just come into the sides. Most of you at college would have worked with horizontal sections going up. The nice thing with this technique is, obviously it's very Tony and Guy, very Vidal Sassoon, very Paul Mitchell. It just follows through on the shape, so you can really see where you're going. Now we're going to work in 3 paces on here. We're going to work section 1, which is going to be sort of 45-degree angle. Then we're going to drop down to 25, which is going to go even lower at the back of the ear. And then over the ear, we're going to 0 elevation. So we elevate it in 3 ways, literally like this here, this section here, and then this section here. So what I have to do then is section it out as if I'm wearing it the way that we're wearing it on the top, and thinking about the line. So the line dictates what we're doing on the section. So let's get that first angle of graduation in, so keeping it nice and clean again, angled up, pulling the elbow up, because again, a lot of us tend to sort of relax a bit too much with the elbow. You got to think about how you're positioning your hands and what they're doing. So now we're coming into the lower layering section, which is now going to give us that section of angle, which is now, you can see that's starting to fold in, and now we're creating that hair that's there with no gap, and it's coming right into the line. So now we're going to the next part. So we just pull that over, and what we'll do now is just create a slightly longer section to bring some more of the hair into the front. So subdivide it. Take the section off. Very Western, this music tonight. It's like watching Fistful of Dollars. Just angle that a little bit more, so I can just get a little bit more in there. Okay, now as we come through again, we're just going to the top. You'll see, just take that into a divide. You've got to really be thinking about what you're doing with this when you're doing it. Thinking about your angles, subdividing sections. Again, it's really important to subdivide, and thinking about where you're going with it. Again, we'll just keep this just slightly longer to create that little bit of graduation onto the face. So just bring that round, drop that down, and we can really start to see. Again, it's folding on its own. Once I put those layers in later, you'll really see that even more. So now, here comes your next part. Again, I cannot emphasize enough about cleaning the section and keeping it clean from the front. So 25 degrees on this. Get another angle coming in. You can really see that now just starting to fall in. Now we're on 0 elevation. Now you can see where we're going to go with that. We're just going to drop that in somewhere about the top of the shoulder, so you can really just sort of pick it out. So again, we could go in with the fingers. I'm going to go in with the comb, just angle it down, because again the comb makes a perfect ruler. It's just go in there, take a bit of that off, and then it goes onto the top. Remember, we've got more hair to come down in a minute, so it will all feel very different. You'll be sitting there thinking, where's my hair gone? That's really, yeah, that's the idea. It's a restyle. So now we've got the shape coming through, and everybody can see at home, the viewers, how it's all starting to shape up from the back to the front. Okay. Next section. It's always quite a strange feeling to begin with when somebody's sitting there on the hair done, because when you're used to having long hair, all of a sudden it disappears. And I experienced it in 1990. I wanted to look like Steven Seagal. Had long hair, past my shoulders, and had it all cut off.
Oh, wow.
To a number 2.
Wow.
So it was quite a change. But yeah, it was good. It was good. So now think about the sections and the dividing where we're going with it. So here comes the next section again now. So slightly elevated up again, because we want to elevate this up. This creates graduation by doing this. Again, we're going slightly lower on the next part, because we don't want it too solid, but enough. So then when we just give it a little tap, everything just folds under quite nicely. Big good evening to Claire Hill. I'm sure Claire Hill will be watching this. Been in today. So you're okay, and the champ, if you're watching tonight, or the main man, I should say. So to think all the nicknames, what you call people, because obviously there's quite a few. As we know, as hairdressers, we meet a lot of people. So, as with opticians, of course, because opticians meet a lot of people as well. That's it. So now join all the other pieces up to keep it clean. You can really see the strength in that cut now coming through, which is quite nice. Karen Simpson, I saw you earlier on. Nice to see you. Emma Rideout. That's her name.